Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Who am I kidding? Just gentlemen. There's no ladies here ever. It's Highlander. It's video games. So welcome to Blackout TV for tonight's ETF2L Highlander Season 11. I would say pre-season show, but it's not really season because there's been one game this week. So let's call it pre-season anyway because it's just one game. I think I can get away with that. And we're joined by John on the camera, the most important person here behind the scenes, who luckily, well, unluckily for him, but luckily for everybody, won't have to hear it from him because he does his own thing. And my name's Hildriff. I'm the host tonight. And we have 4 guests with me. Sorry, 5 guests. I can't count. I apologise. 5 guests tonight. And I'm just going to go through them one by one. First of all, we have the new king of Highlander, Mr. CJ. Leader of Strong Opinions. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks.
And that's it. Nothing. No comments about me calling you the new king of Highlander. Nothing.
I'm not sure if that's justified just yet, but I appreciate it, Hildred. Thank you. It's your crown. You can choose who you can go on next, I guess.
Well, at Wishland 2017, if there is one, I'll bring my Burger King crown. I'll give it to you or Emilio if you win. With us tonight is also Kronos, who is the leader of the Bureau.
Hey.
So, Kronos, just people don't actually, not everybody knows you as well as CJ, because CJ is an MVM streamer. For a period of last season, you're actually homeless for a while. Is this true?
Yeah, it was for about a month or just over.
Then you sort of recovered. You found someone to live just in time to beat us in the playoffs.
I did indeed. Yeah, good job.
I'm very glad that you have somewhere to live for now. Although if you don't win any prize money this year, will you be able to afford the rent?
There's no rent. Good. I'm staying with people I know, and yeah, it's great. Happy.
No rent. It's easy for some. Okay. And we also have Spelly representing a new team to Prem this season, Super Dickmans or SDCK. Spelly, you caused quite a lot of flood damage since we last met. So we won't talk about that. Instead, I just want to ask
Thank you.
How you were doing tonight.
I'm fine. Really hyped for this talk, maybe. Not really hyped, but just it will be interesting. Yeah.
At some point I'll bring up the land story if you annoy me.
All right.
So keep it good, keep it clean. And we also have the last team leader representative tonight. I think it's your debut as well. It's your Prem debut as well for your team. How are you doing, Mackie?
I'm good, thanks.
That's good. That's good. Last time I actually saw you was Highlander Season 10 pre-season. Do you remember? You played
Premtech on yeah.
Yeah. And me and Mookie were casting, and Mookie kept talking about the power of friendship.
Well, the power of friendship has prevailed because we've ended up in Prem.
Yeah, I mean that could be a reason, or it could be all the teams that folded. I think I'll go with the former. It sounds better. And finally, I really want to thank this last guy for coming on, Stinson, tonight, because Stinson, unlike the players, he isn't participating in Prem this season. Are you playing at all this season, Stinson, by the way?
I am back for Kronos, actually.
Oh, so you are a Prem player.
I'm a player, but I don't think I will play that much, seeing
so
as
in
the occasional game, every so often.
Yeah.
So when Kronos gets kicked out of his house, you're going to medic?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Maybe
good.
I'll be even banning him from ETF2L, depending on what mood I am, just to take over. But I'll see. I haven't made my mind yet.
Yeah, your main reason for being here is to represent ETF2L as an admin, because you are part of the admin team, if you didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
And it's actually really good to have you on the show, because usually what happens in these talk shows is a couple of us, mainly me to be honest, will just trash talk the admins, and they will just try and defend themselves in Twitch chat, and I think having you here will be able to answer some questions we have as a community. So thank you for coming on.
Sure, I'll do my best.
That's good. Now, I want to thank everyone else for watching as well, because it's going to be really difficult for people to put up with my voice for an hour and a half, or however long it's going to be. So thank you for listening. And we're just going to start with reaping the Blackout TV Invitational that happened just this Sunday, actually. I'm going to bring up the bracket so I can actually know what I'm talking about. Because I didn't actually watch much of this, I only watched one map. But strong opinions, you guys would have... It wasn't a surprise to anybody, considering you won everything that you've played in except UGC, I should say. CJ?
Yeah.
Congratulations. What did you win?
We won, I think it was £150 and some items, which are still being sorted out, so I'm waiting for John to pay me. So yeah. But yeah, that's pretty good for a cup.
Very good. Whilst we're on the subject, actually, just to give people an overview, the Blackout Highlander Invitational is an 8-team invitational tournament organised mostly by your teammates Belly Clark, and Blackout TV sponsored some of it. Was it Essentials that sponsored the money? I think it was Essentials. No, not Essentials.
No. It was supposed to be Essentials, but some stuff happened apparently. But so in the end, it was mostly made up of donations by individuals. So yeah, it was pretty much a community-funded prize pool in the end, and obviously the items were donated by people as well.
Isn't that nice? It's very good. So thanks to Clark, big thanks to Clark for organising. Really like to see this happen more and more often, and John obviously for Blackout streaming it, and the casters in no particular order. Some shout outs to Nakawati, Sigafu, High GPS, Peter, and Bulo for casting. Big props to them. CJ, here's a nice question for you. It's not a surprise you guys had most of your roster for the tournaments, and you looked pretty comfortable. The only game I thought that looks like was close was the 4-3 versus Premtech in the upper bracket final. How close was this, CJ? It looked close.
It was only 4-2.
4-2?
Yeah, like I don't wanna... Like obviously towards like the last half they pressured us a bit. But if you actually remember the game, we were 4-0 up, and we wiped them amid. We had Uber advantage, and it's like basically my fault because I made the call. Should we practice a different kind of push?
I see it was just practice to you. Okay.
Well, no, like with no disrespect, we were 4-0 up, and it was essentially impossible for them to kind of win. So we tried a different push, which just didn't work out at all. And at that point, I think people just lost concentration because it got to the point where they weren't going to win 4 rounds, and basically we sort of just started taking 1v1s and allowed them to get back into the game, and that's what made it like a little bit closer in the end. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that was the one game where we just kind of lost a bit of concentration, so we have to make sure that doesn't happen during the season.
So you feel overall you guys were pretty comfortable the whole tournament? Didn't feel pressured at all?
No, it's not like there was no pressure. I mean, like we set pressure for ourselves, and there were times where we actually had to. Like, it's not like we weren't trying. Like we came into the games, and we actually had to focus 100%. We haven't played with a full roster since season 10, so we were just kind of getting into the swing of things. And yeah, I mean, obviously playing across the day helped because it was just like continual games. But yeah, I mean, we had to play. We didn't just kind of sit back and hold W or anything like that. But I mean, yeah, generally we felt like when we were playing, we played pretty well, and when we were playing pretty well, we felt comfortable.
Okay, well, I can see you guys won it pretty emphatically is the word I would use there. So I think I'll bring it on to some of the other teams. Spelly, you guys came runners up to Strong Opinions, and in my opinion, I think you probably surprised a few people by coming second. Because when you look if you just judge the tournament based on the names that we're playing, most people would expect a team like Chess Club or Premtech to come second, just on the pure name, their name and their history. So I wanted to ask you, were you surprised you came second, or did you expect to come second? Because didn't you get seeded pretty highly as well?
Yeah, we got seeded highly, but we didn't really. Well, we just played. We didn't really expect what place we'd end up. Obviously, we're doing our best, and yeah, pretty much it. I think yeah, Chess Club had a really bad week as well. They should have been higher up, honestly. But I noticed they had some really bad games, which they usually don't. But yeah, was unfortunate.
Oh, sorry. By the way, guys, I posted the brackets in that Twitch chat if anybody wanted to look at it and look at the tournament. There were a lot of games on, and a lot of games were casted over the weekend, so it is impossible to just go through every game one by one. But I think the key game for you guys has to be that 2-1 against Bureau, and I'll bring this in a minute, because that was the one game in the tournament I managed to watch the whole thing. Where you guys beat them 2-1 on Badwater in the lower bracket semi-finals. It was actually a really good game to watch. How was that from your perspective, Spelly?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh man, you haven't started drinking, have you?
No, not yet.
Too early. Not yet. Okay.
I have to wait another year.
Okay. Well, the game against the Bureau, the Badwater semi-final.
Yes.
You remember it was probably the best game of the whole tournament, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, I'd say we fucked up a lot on that game. So did Bureau, and yeah, it was a very interesting game. Like when we were holding turrets in, I think the second round, we were all fired up. I remember not being able to push the cart in on turret for like 3 minutes, which we found quite funny after the game. But yeah, it was a fun game. Probably our most favorite game in that cup. Yeah.
Kronos. Oh, sorry. Did you have something to say?
No.
Okay, Kronos. Give me a view from the other side. The game against Bureau, Dickman. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a really good fun game. Very even. It was the second round. Was actually the round we came out on top because I think we set a decent time we held for like 10, 11 minutes, and then we pushed super fast. But then in the other two rounds, Super Dickmans had a super good third hold, and we struggled to push them both times. But yeah, so we had pros and cons. We're still getting back into things quite a lot because we've had people missing, and we still haven't really got a main engineer because Doom is, I don't know where.
You guys picked up Doom.
Yeah, well,
Big mistake.
He was on he played for us before, and then we thought, he can come home, and he played like one scrim, and that has been it. So
probably the bit where he dodged LAN might be a sort of clue.
Yeah.
Please don't bring up Doom. I'm already triggered.
It's okay. We won't bring up Doom.
We've had people missing because of sixes as well, and the cup was the first day Funds played for us. He's saying he's going to play every official for us, but until sixes is over, he won't play anything else. But we're still getting back into things. We're going to yet hit our stride, and hopefully we're going to be ever improving throughout the season.
Controversially, though, do you agree with the seedings that you guys got? Because you were a 4th seed. That's below Strong Opinions, it was below Super Dickmans, and it was also below Chess Club. Do you agree with that, considering you guys came 3rd last season?
I didn't actually give any seeds to Clark. I didn't want to. I don't think it's for me to decide who's the best teams. We just turned up and played on the day, and we finished 4th in the end. So I guess on seedings value, we earned our seed.
Fair play. I mean, I will ask you this last question because you're the only guy I can ask. But Chess Club's roster that turned up was a bit different, I think, from what people were expecting. It was a sort of put together last minute kind of thing. What did you make of them? Because you guys beat them 1-0 in process and knocked them out the tournament.
It was 3-2 actually, but
was it 3-2?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it was two best of them.
Aditi was murking for them, and I have to admit he was by far the biggest problem. Obviously, his strong opinions is sub demo man, and he was the biggest problem player comfortably. So maybe if they get their rosters together, they will be better, but they will need to make up for a lack of a D-ski, I feel.
Okay, well, we'll talk about their rosters later. The final guy who we haven't asked, Mackie Toucan's on the big stage, finally. Getting the E-fame in Highlander with all 100 viewers that we normally get. How was the tournament for you guys? Because you came sort of joint 5th in the end. Is that sort of where you expected to come, or do you think you could have done better?
I feel like we weren't really expecting to do too well in that cup because I was away, and we had Catman playing, who's a very different heavy to me. But yeah, I think we were fairly happy. Weren't too unhappy either.
Right, so you were content, is what you're saying. Content.
Yeah.
What was your favourite part of the tournament? What was your best game?
I'm probably not the best person to talk about this because I didn't play it.
Oh yes, point I forgot. I even wrote that in my notes. Mackie didn't play. Don't talk like he actually played.
I'd assume the best game would be against TC Frosties because it's the only one we won.
I mean, to be fair, you did go up to Dickman's in the lower bracket, and you also you lost to Bureau. So actually, it was a 1-2 there by Spelling and Cronus on your boys. Do you actually, but sort of on that subject, do you actually see yourself as behind Bureau and Dickman's? Well, less so Bureau because they were in Prem for a season before you. But certainly Dickman's got promoted last season. You played against them in higher. Do you feel like you're behind them at the moment?
Yeah, I would say that we are behind them, but we've scrimmed them a lot, and we take maps like sometimes, so it gives us hope,
That's good. Okay, cool. I guess we can move on from that tournament. It was really nice that it happened. Enjoy your £20, CJ, for winning. Don't spend it all at once. So I guess we can move on. Should we talk about juicy unlocks, or should we recap from the last season? What do you guys reckon? Who's feeling the unlocks? Stinson? I feel like I haven't heard your voice much. Should we drill you with questions?
I'm ready whenever.
He is ready.
Cool. I'm so ready. I was born ready.
We'll go over the rosters for the new season, but let's move on to season 11. Obviously it's been a long summer since we last made 5 months since the last season, something like that. And season 11 is so glad that it's back. I'm not going to be playing it. That's why I'm glad, by the way.
Well,
but we had a bit of controversy. You guys can help me out a little bit for some of the background, because I was sort of on the peripheral. I just spent most of the time moaning on the forums. But there was the unlocked discussion. There was an unlocked discussion where I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, something like 8 to 10 leaders that were potential Prem candidates. So basically teams that were going to be in the Prem playoffs, plus Premiership team leaders, were invited to discuss the unlocks, and sort of after an hour of babbling on. I think you made a video of it on YouTube, if you guys want to look it up. You guys sort of took a vote in the end, and it was voted that Dead Ringer would be banned, and correct me if I'm wrong, Razorback would be banned as well, or would that be allowed?
Razorback was allowed all along.
Short Circuit was banned.
Yeah, DR and Short Circuit, I think. Razorback wasn't banned.
Okay, and that obviously led to a big backlash, of which we have some leaders who are for that and some that are against it, and we sort of got both sides on tonight. Who can talk about that? But I just want to ask you a few questions. First of all, Stinson, just sort of so you can defend yourself. But why did you choose to allow a community vote initially? And community vote is in select the players from the Prem candidates and have them vote on the issue of unlocks.
So this topic has been around for like whenever season starts, people are complaining about like different things, maps, unlocks, and also the procedure in which decisions are made. And first of all, I want to say it doesn't matter how you do it, you're gonna do it wrong from an admin perspective. There's always gonna be people complaining about everything, about decisions that are being made. And we're at a point where we tried everything. We tried like actually public votes and polls on our ETF2L website. We tried, making admin decisions ourselves. And now we opted towards asking people who supposedly know a lot about this game. And that's why there was like a council meeting of, I don't know if it was 8 people or 8 team leaders, but
I think it was 11.
Oh, okay. I wasn't involved in the decision making at all, but I will try to recapture that. And so yeah, there was 11 people in Mumble, and then at the end there was a dead ringer ban. But I think it is a good thing to ask people who know the game really well about their opinion, and so I wouldn't do it differently next time. I would just not solely base my decision off of this one meeting. That's probably what went wrong in the end, is that we didn't really evaluate the discussion that was being had in Mumble. We just went with the with whatever came out and then published it.
Okay, well, there's an answer for you, CJ. Do you kind of agree with that? Is it a good idea to vote on the issue? Do you agree with him in principle because you're one of the vocal teams against the decision?
Like, I was against the process. Like, I don't think you should ask the teams because you're essentially giving teams like a tactical opportunity when it comes to weapons that are kind of used or not used by certain players. So I think there's always going to be an element of bias if you only limit it to the leaders from a certain division. Because, like it or not, there's always going to be that kind of inflection in your mind of whether your team uses a weapon and whether you care or not whether it gets banned. But also, I think we should be moving towards a more open whitelist in general. And I didn't feel there was any good arguments or any reasons to ban the Dead Ringer. I think we should we'd really like in between kind of season 11 and season 12 to sit down and look at the weapons that have been banned and whether any of those that we can unlock to make it more open, kind of like sixes, to kind of make it more casual friendly for people coming in. And yeah, I mean that was just my side of it.
Okay, well, I'll sort of bring in Cronus. I don't think it was specifically Cronus. Your team, certain people on your team were very much for the ban. What's your thoughts on what Stinson said and what CJ said?
I definitely was for the ban. Our spy McNando, his best playstyle is when he is probably using the DR. He's most effective doing that. So I wasn't at all biased in that regards, but he felt collectively talked to. Even McNando said.
So who did you talk to? Sorry.
I spoke to the spy from my team. I spoke to other members of my team, and McNando said, "Yeah, the spy DR is just the most." He says he goes and plays the DR when he doesn't want to have to think, and when he just wants to go and click on heads, and then he said it is just the most effective way to play spy 90% of the time, and I agree in that extent that the Dead Ringer is just the most effective way, the most annoying way to play spy, and the best way to get picks and harass the other team. And although spies can be effective using other weapons, the Dead Ringer stands out, in my opinion, as being just a way spies can get away with being in positions where they're not being sneaky, they're not being stealthy or anything, but they can just walk into positions and get away alive.
Okay, well,
and take situations and take fights that they would never win, or win 10% of the time, but survive anyway.
Well, after that
when they
point,
should be
but
punished for it.
should I ask? Well, first of all, should I ask why ban it now after 10 seasons already, in which it's never been before? What do you?
Okay, I have. I think the reason is obviously last January the DR was buffed, and now you can pretty much fill up the DR charge with a single ammo pack, the big ammo pack, and which makes it incredibly spammable. The speed buff, which is new, which came about in I can't remember. It was either January or last summer. Means that it is very, very easy to get around between the ammo packs to fill up your DR, and the and the damage resistance was increased from 50% back to 75%. So you're able to tank, you're able to spam the DR, and you're able to be pretty much anywhere you want to be very, very quickly. I think after you activate the DR, you are the fastest class in the game for seconds. And
Okay, cool.
That is, in my opinion, that's overpowered.
Well, you certainly articulated your point of view across.
If I can
Yeah,
get
of
in
course.
here. So what I've gathered is I have not familiar with patch notes or when they came out or something, but in general, the Dead Ringer got a lot of attention because the metagame shifted. The spy metagame shifted towards Ringer because people had this new way of playing. I don't know if Toast invented it, but he made it certainly popular.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, he definitely didn't
The
invent it.
Gunspy metagame has been around for the past 6 seasons.
Yeah,
Inso and
Gunspy
Solid
metagame.
were like the best Gunspies, and anyone who plays now, be it Toast or Zaman or whoever, is always going to be compared to Solid and Inso because
That may be.
those guys essentially invented the Gunspy.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but what it comes down to is a lot more people use this strategy now, even in high, mid, open divisions, and that's why it came to our attention or to the attention of the community that maybe looking at the Dead Ringer is not a bad decision. I am not saying Dead Ringer is overpowered. I wouldn't have made the decision myself if I was involved in it, but if I look at other esports and other games where I'm a little bit involved in League of Legends. A lot of the things that are being patched, nerfed, or balanced haven't really changed over a long amount of seasons or time. But it only comes to attention if people actually use this style of play. So that's why now was made the decision, not 10 seasons back, because nobody really cared about. Maybe Inso did it, but not the majority of the spies did it. And that's why now was made the decision to ban the Dead Ringer.
I understand the timing now. Good answer. But I bring my own point of view on this, but I'll try and sort of neutral. So let's hear from Mackie. What were your thoughts on the ban? Were you for the Dead Ringer? Were you against Dead Ringer? Were you against the other weapons? What do you think of the idea of voting?
Personally, I disagree with the idea of letting the teams vote for the reasons that CJ said. I think Chef was filling in for me, and he voted against ban. Sorry, I think he voted for the ban. But I think that might come down to which classes the team leaders play. Like you see the Razorback not getting banned because there's no spy team leaders. But on the DR, I think for players who don't play spy, it appears very easy to use it and spam it. But I'm not for banning it. I'd rather have it in the season, but I think it does need some tweaking from Valve.
Okay, so you think the weapon could have some balance shifting. Now, I also... Yeah, sorry.
So I think the speed boost is maybe too fast or it lasts for too long.
Yeah, maybe. I also like the point you made about voting for team leaders. Do you think that because of the class of the player, does that factor into a decision? Because Kronos might be a medic main, but he said he spoke to his team spy. So spies will have more of an opinion on the Dead Ringer.
Yeah, I don't know if you've watched the whole of the Beep video.
Oh, good God, no. Good God, I have much better things to do.
Yeah,
carry on.
There was a correlation between which classes the team leaders were playing and what they were voting for. So.
Right, that's a very interesting point that I did not. Good thinking. I liked Mackie. We should bring him back more. Get rid of CJ. Bring Mackie on permanently. Spelly, I haven't asked you your point of view.
I was really around when we were discussing it.
That's
but
excellent.
I heard what Matt thought about it. Apparently, my team was against the ban, even though like Man or Spy didn't really care. Like he was fine with either. Same for me, really. I thought maybe no DR would be interesting, refreshing, but I don't really care that DR is still there. Think some people on our team were wanted the DR ban because they thought it was just Spy was just too important. But next to that, nothing really. So we're quite neutral.
Okay,
Just want to have fun. Yeah.
I guess I can see your point of view. TF2, it doesn't have to be super serious, but you do raise a point that certain players on certain teams are for it, certain players on certain teams are against it. It could be depending on what class they play. That's something that tells me that community vote or at least team vote might not be the best way of doing it. Because, for example, say I was represented as Highlander team leader. My personal opinion is I don't think it should be banned. I won't explain why, because I'm a coward. I've explained it on the forum as well. But if I was a team leader for High Panda, and say we played with us roster last year, I'm pretty sure certain players on my team might have wanted it banned. For example, Granger Bob has said that he wants to play the season because it's banned. So I guess it could depend on who the team leader is. With that in mind, Stinson, with what you've just heard, would you continue doing it this way, the vote going forward?
I think that having these meetings can't hurt. You should probably have some input from people who play this game a lot and have reached a certain skill level in this game. But what I would like to see, again, I'm not involved in league admin decisions right now at this point of time. But what I would like to see is that we have a balance of, asking for opinions from the Prem players, asking maybe for opinions of the public votes, and then compare these opinions with what we came up after we had talk about internally. I think that you should only ban weapons that are actually broken in a sense where they are buggy, or really overpowered where it's really obvious that it breaks the game. And whenever we are undecided on a topic, we should take these opinions into considerations. But it's never a good idea, and that's where I agree with most of the people, to just take the poll or the vote and do whatever the outcome of that poll or vote is, because it will always be biased, it will always be made by people who have no idea or don't really care, just pick an answer and like, yeah, whatever.
Okay, well that actually does bring me to a point where I think I spoke to one of the admins involved in the process. Excuse me. I won't name him just because I think it's fair, but he told me that I asked him specifically what is the purpose of the whitelist, what's it designed to do, because I feel like this is one of the key things that's lost on the discussion is what is the whitelist designed to do? Are we supposed to be balancing the game, or are we supposed to be getting rid of weapons that we think are overpowered? No, I can't remember if I actually asked about this, Stinson. You don't have to give me an answer to this, but I think that's one of the considerations going
I would
forward.
like to.
Yeah,
I actually
go ahead.
thought about it because I saw you posting a question on the forums, and it is a really interesting one. It's really hard to say because I wasn't present back in the days where the whitelist was invented. What I figure is that when ETF2L started, they played with only stock weapons, right? And then
True, yeah.
there came more and more unlocks were added to the pub game, and then what ETF2L did is they just banned them because they didn't really know what impact they would have on the game.
They allowed
and they would-
Milox originally, and then
Yeah.
that was it.
but like they didn't choose to allow a lot of unlocks. So there has been a process of, I think, the last 4 or 5 years, where step for step ETF2L allowed more and more unlocks, seeing how they work out, but not they didn't look at it the way we do right now, is ban only the stuff that's actually broken. They actually sat down and said, okay, why allow this instead of why ban this? And we're at a point right now where you should shift that to why ban this weapon and not why allow, because we're at the point where most of the stuff is already being allowed. And that took us 4 years? So I don't think there was ever or is a real definition of what is the whitelist supposed to do. But I do think that the unified whitelist from the 6v6 is the first step towards how it should be looked at, to only ban stuff that actually changes the game negative way, whether it's buggy or OP. And we have not adapted that to Highlander yet. But I think it's fair to say that we have passed on an opportunity, because Highlander was always more open than 6v6, and literally the unified whitelist was more or less a short-term decision for this next season, made by a couple of people and brought up by essentially only Mr. Slyn. So I don't think you can hold us responsible for not following that path, because
Are you gonna do one for Highland? Unified whitelist with UGC?
We haven't decided yet. There was, I think, 1 or 2 persons on the admin forums mentioning that we could do it, but communication with the UGC in the past has always been kind of slow, and I don't think that it would make too much of a difference. Our whitelists are also really similar already.
Okay,
And
well,
it wouldn't have a big impact on the NA scene like it would have in Sixes, where they have international LANs, so everyone is used to the same standard. In Highlander,
enough.
there's not this event where people have to be on the same page, rule set and whitelist wise.
okay, well, I'll bring in CJ and Cronus because they're the big people with differing points of view. CJ, what do you think the purpose of a whitelist should be?
The what?
What do you think the purpose of the whitelist should be? What should it be designed to do?
The
Why do
whitelist
we
should
have a
just
whitelist?
remove weapons that are broken or overpowered, or serve no purpose for Highlander. Okay, so you got 3 categories. You got broken weapons, which are things like, I believe the Thompson's broken, is it still? Or the Bizarre Bargain, at least, is broken.
How
So
are they broken? They glitched, or just clarify?
Yeah,
they
they glitched
or-
items.
I don't believe the Bizarre Bargain's broken anymore, actually.
Oh, isn't
I
it?
think it hasn't been broken for about a year and a half.
Okay, well then that's an item you should look at coming back. But along that realm, if something's glitched, say for example the Thompson used to shoot at your teammates or buildings and it would disappear. When that was happening, that should be banned, because essentially it's glitched, and the glitch results in something that can't be avoided. Then you've got items which are overpowered, something like the reserve shooter, which really needs to be adjusted in its current format to be included in either game mode.
So why that? Let's just use that as an example. Why is it overpowered?
Because as a pyro, you can set someone on fire, push them into the air using air blast, and mini crit them 3 times.
Also, the fact that it gives you a bonus for something you'd be doing anyway, which is shooting people, which doesn't make any sense.
And you don't actually have to engage in the enemy. They could just be jumping from somewhere high, and they'll take.
So would it be overpowered with the soldier, for example? Is it just the pyro? You see, there's a whole discussion around this. But
if you were to remove the fact that outside influences allow you to mini crits, if it was only when you shot them into the air to mini crit them,
It is now. It has been for about a year.
then I would say for soldier it would be entering the realms of the acceptable. However, in pyro, I still think the fact that you can physically push people into the air quite easily.
Also, you can't whitelist a weapon just for one class. That's not
exactly. But I mean, just to go back to what I was saying, that's something that I consider overpowered. And if people consider a weapon overpowered, that's just an example. And the third thing would be something like a Vitasaur or the Darwin's Danger Shield, which if you run it, you basically force the other player on your team to run it. So like I remember when I started out Highlander, Vitasaur was allowed, and even though I didn't like running it, I wanted to use the Ubersaur. My team basically said, "Look, you've got to run it because the enemy team's running it. If we kill the medic, he's going to respawn with 20% Uber. Like we need that advantage, otherwise we're constantly at a disadvantage if you die." So something like that basically makes the game stale. So I mean, the whitelist should just basically make, be as open as possible, remove things that are broken and overpowered, and just not make the game, something like Bites or the Darwin's Danger Shield, which you tweak.
Okay, well, that's your. There's certainly questions to come from that, but let's ask Kronos. Do you agree with CJ's assessment of whitelist? Why it should
To an
exist?
extent, I believe that the DR would also fall into the category of overpowered, in exactly the same way that the reserve shooter would, because I think pretty much all pyros would run it, apart from ones that really like running the flare gun.
Okay,
So
well,
equally, most spies will run the DR, and
without talking
when-
about specific weapons, though,
Yeah.
that's
So,
what you think
okay,
a whitelist should
so-
be.
I think you could go one of two ways, and you could go and just unban everything that isn't broken. So,
I think that's what we did in season 1.
I think now most things are not broken anymore. I think they've all been fixed. However, I think you could go that way and just try to make things as open as possible, and that would be great. Or you could go another way and you ban things that are meta-defining, and the DR most certainly is. And so I'd go so far to say that the Razorback also is.
So by saying meta-defining, you think that the whitelist should balance the game if you want it to be change the meta. You think it should balance how the game goes.
I would agree with that. As I said, it could go one of two ways, and make it just completely open, or you try to make it so no one weapon defines the meta. And Razorback and DR most certainly do right now.
Okay, well, what do you think, Spelly? Should a whitelist balance the game? Should it be open?
I think the whitelist is fine right now, but I think perhaps they should make these scheduled votes for certain weapons. So all the players, let's say everyone with an ETF2L account, and is active, can maybe make a vote to make some changes to the whitelist.
Okay, but you can't really vote on the whitelist unless you kind of have an idea what it's supposed to do. And as Stinson was saying,
let's say the DR, for example, where we can just have one huge vote between all the players that play actively and see what they think, and then have a final verdict instead of just having all the.
Do you think that the public should vote on really controversial weapons? Is what you're saying?
Not the public, just people that actually play Highlander a lot.
So that's basically what's just happened though this season. That everyone's had that certain people had a backlash, but you think that was the right way of going about it?
Yeah. But I think whitelist is fine. It's nothing really that changes the flow of the game. So.
Okay. Finally, Mac, do you have any views on this? I'll give you a minute to articulate.
I think the whitelist should balance the game. That's what a whitelist should do. And we should move on because we talked about this for a long time.
I think it's very important to talk about, but you are right. So let's move it on a little bit. I do actually want to know why you guys made the decision to reverse the ban in the instance.
So I mean, obviously there was a big backlash publicly in the forums and the comments when we released the ban or when we announced the ban. So we had people sitting down again. I think Moist led the discussion in Mumble with all Prem team leaders or something like that, and only 2 or 3 were still for the DR ban after that, and then admins were being asked, and most of the admins already hinted that they would also like to lift the ban, and that's why we did it. I mean, personally, I really don't think it had to be banned in the first place, but once you decide you ban it, we should have stuck to that decision, in my opinion, because it makes us look incredibly vulnerable to the community. I don't think that, I mean, a lot of people complain, obviously, but I don't think that most people that are participating in the season had something against the ban all in all, or cared enough to express their opinions, just like the fewer people, maybe 2 dozens or the dozen people, were really vocal about it. That's why it seemed like everyone was against it. And we could also have had just like reversed the ban next season, just because I had the impression reading this forum topic that most people think if you ban it now, it will stay banned forever. Like, you can revert this ban after the season, it's no problem, and we would probably have done that anyways.
Okay, cool. Well, I can certainly understand your view. Let's move on, because I think people are getting restless about unlocks. CJ, you look like you've had a long day. Do you want me to give you a little project?
11 hours today working with children.
Okay, didn't it?
A bit more motivated.
Okay, well, I'll give you a bit of homework. The map pool, I guess, is next on the agenda. Can you name any of the map changes between the from last season?
Coal plant's in, Barnblitz is out, and Warmtick is back in at the cost of
Barnblitz.
Oh,
yeah, I
Barnblitz,
think
of course,
we
yeah, Barnblitz.
removed Barnblitz and put on pretty much 2 costs, like a whole cost week for it.
Okay, a whole cough week.
Yeah, week 6 is Warmtick and product, which has never been done before on ETF2L as far as I'm aware. Like 2 cost maps in 1 week.
Oh, cool. I think that's actually quite a good idea. But yeah, what do you guys think of those new maps? I'll bring it to who's the most bored looking person here. It's got to be Spelly. He looks fed up of life. Spelly.
Wow. Well, I kind of like Barnblitz in the first place, so I'm not really for the map changes, but I think Warmtick is definitely a good and well-balanced map, so we'll see some interesting games on there. Like Barnblitz, there were some really inconsistent moments, especially when backing out of first. Not a lot of teams could get a second hold, and second, if you do it correctly, you can get a lot of time there. Same for last. Someone would correctly roll someone on third and take last, and the defending team would lose a lot of time. But Warmtick is definitely way more balanced than Barnblitz. Not necessarily more fun, but probably better in a competitive environment. So maybe it's a good choice to have Warmtick and product in the same week.
Cool. Anyway, who else wants to get into this? Who has something to say? Okay, I'll just pick on somebody. Mackie, you've been quiet. I'm like a teacher. Is this what being a teacher's like, CJ?
Oh yeah, you got to pick on the quiet one.
Yeah. That's what I do. Mackie, you think of the map changes? Were you a fan of Barnblitz?
Yeah, personally, I liked Barnblitz, and we were always very good at it. So, I guess I'm biased in that sense. But there was 4 payload maps last season. Am I right in saying that? So
yeah.
So maybe it was a bit excessive to have that many. But now we have 4 Koth maps.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's hard to find a balance.
Our problem was that we had 4 payload maps plus Steer, which is also a stopwatch map. So the map pool was really stopwatch heavy. And Barnblitz is, I don't know, it's a decent map, but it has obvious flaws. We did decide in favor of Borneo instead of Barnblitz because it's somewhat newer and people are less tired of playing this map. But the optimal way of doing or replacing Barnblitz would have been if we had another 5CP cost week. But 5CP in general plays out on most maps really, really, really in Highlander, in my opinion. And there was also not a really good option after Gollywash or Process. That's why we chose to have 2 cost maps instead. Because cost, I mean, at least something happens. At least there's like a clock running down, where in 5CP and Highlander it's always, or most of the times, it's really stalemate-y.
That's
especially
controversial. But
especially between two even teams.
what do you think about that, Cronus? Do you think 5CP should be in Highlander? Are you happy with the map pool like it is?
I think the map pool's balanced right now. We have 3 weeks of Koth, the equivalent of 2 weeks of 3 weeks of payload, 2 weeks of Koth, the equivalent, and 1 week of 5CP if you put all the maps in the same weeks, which I think is people like maybe payload the most. So we got 3 weeks of that. People like the second most, so 2 weeks of that, and people like 5CP the least. So we've got 1 week of that, which I think is, and that's how the points are going to be set up throughout the season. Most are going to be put on payload, then Koth, then 5CP. So,
but this all breaks down in playoffs, though, because then the maps have more weight, the Koth maps.
Yeah, sure. I suppose they do. But equally, I think Barn Blitz last season, we played Strong Opinions, and no one capped last in 3 rounds. And
I think we capped it in one of the rounds, but yeah, you're right.
did you? Oh, okay. Well, okay. Point stands. Well, it wasn't capped
6.
in 2.5 of the rounds. And
Maybe you guys are just bad. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
well, it just sums up there's weaknesses about that map, and they really need to be addressed. The other, and so I think getting rid of that map is fine. Whereas there were lots of good Koth maps, and I think we now have two more of them in the season. And personally, I'm looking forward to playing them all with everyone.
Okay, cool. CJ, I'll give you a chance to express your opinion on the map pool. Do you like the idea of 4 Koth maps?
I mean, I think it raises a similar question to playing the 4 payload map. Like, I kind like the only one I raise a question about is Coal Plant. I don't know why you're having Coal Plant instead of Asheville. I thought Coal Plant was more 6 orientated, but maybe I'm just wrong. But I quite like Barn Blitz. The official Cronus was talking about was indeed very horrible. Like 90 minutes of most of it trying to push last. It was not enjoyable. But on that, you know, I'm gonna blame Steve for being there. So it's all his fault. But like
Yeah,
in general, I think it's the least popular of the payload maps because it has that kind of history of being difficult to push last. Even though they've made changes, which I think makes it easier, I think defending it is more preferential. You do get a lot of second chances, but I don't know. I don't really agree with it being removed. And I suppose if you have 4 Koth now, people who don't like Koth are going to complain just like people who didn't like payload complained last season. So I don't know. Still think season 9 had the best because it had a couple of Koth maps, some payload, some 5CP, and a couple of attack defense maps. But seeing as Gravel Pit doesn't seem to be coming back anytime soon, and there aren't really any other attack defense maps worth adding, I'm not going to complain about this map pool. It's good enough.
Okay, well, I'll go. You're a little bit difficult to understand, CJ, but so sorry about that bit. So I didn't catch all of that. But, I did want to ask somebody. Go on, Cronus. You're eager to talk. I can tell by those eyes.
Oh no, I'm fine. I've said what I had to say about Koth. I like it. It's good. Okay.
I was going to ask about Borneo being included instead of Barn Blitz. Do you think Borneo should be in the pool?
Borneo
is
a better map than Barn Blitz. It's easier to push last.
What about
it's
over
more
Gravel Pit? What about say over Gravel Pit? Because it is Made to, so we do have to take it with a pinch of salt. But there was a thread on ETF2L about Gravel Pit. Should it be in there?
Personally, I don't know. We got the 1 attack defend map, and I think that's enough. I think Gravel Pit hinged far too much on 1 hero play, and if the medic died on B, you would just push last fairly easily. And equally, A was just a complete throwaway point. So these 3 things combined to make the map it just wasn't a good map for. It's good fun in pubs. I don't think it's good fun in Highlander. I don't think it works at all.
Well, I do agree that 1 drop Uber on B and really it is one of the maps where it's really hard to recover from getting wiped after a drop Duber. I agree with that, but I don't know about Gravelpit. I feel like it has some potential to be argued of being in the map pool instead of Borneo. But Borneo's a sort of more straightforward map. I don't know. Mackie, what do you think?
I really like Borneo. I think it's a really good map for Highlander.
Okay, I'll get short and sweet. If only we could all be like that, this show would be done in half the time.
And I think other teams like it as well. They don't object to playing it.
Yeah,
I mean,
good
yeah,
map.
sorry.
When Borneo first came out, season 7 of EVC, it was atrocious. They obviously worked for years.
Oh, sorry, you're really quiet, CJ. I would love to hear your thoughts on Borneo, but I really struggling to hear you, I'm afraid, mate. I mean, if you can, we can come back to Borneo at any time. I really hope you do get your mic boosted because I want to talk about rosters soon.
It's the site. I don't think you can do anything about it.
We'll see. Maybe John has some answers to that. Yeah,
Try
sorry about
Skype.
I don't know if we can make the transfer if it's not too late. We'll see what John says. Keep trying it, man. Keep trying it. Spelly, I haven't asked you about Borneo. Do you like Borneo? Is it your favourite map in TF2? Do you want to play this instead of Badwater? Just play 7 weeks of Borneo.
Probably not what you just said, but I definitely like it as a demo main, especially. It's a good map. Like every point's well balanced, and there's a lot of things you can do in it. Unlike gravel pits, there's not really a lot of different holds or pushes you can do. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You hold B, you lose B, you hold C, you lose C, you lose. Like, A, it's like when there's a map with a pointless point like A on gravel pits, I don't see the point in having it in competitive play.
Steel?
Well, steel is a bit different. I mean, you have 5 points and you don't really have any place to hold next to spawn. So, like, I'd say A is like a place to hold. More like a point to cap, But yeah, Borneo is a good map. I'm happy that it's in the pool. I'm pretty sure a lot of other players do as well.
Okay. I mean, overall, would you say this is the best map pool we've had for years? Because I feel like maps aren't being as big a controversial subject over the last couple of seasons. Like people aren't making as big a deal over maps anymore. I feel like they're getting better. The admins on the whole. Sometimes you have to praise them if you think they're getting it right. Otherwise, they'll be sad. Do you guys agree?
I think this is the best map pool for, in my TF2 experience. So, admittedly, that's only back until the first Highlander Open. But in my experience, this is the best map pool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so nobody wants to trash talk the admins.
I think maybe the map,
really.
the map in that preseason map test cup wasn't maybe screened enough.
CPL.
Yeah.
It was fun to play, but I don't know. Maybe they should have tested it a bit longer because teams were finally figuring out how to play it in the actual map test cup. So yeah, we should give another try maybe next season. Give it more time, see how it works out. It might be a good map for Highlander.
That's good. It's good. Everybody's happy with the maps. This is not an interesting discussion. I thought we'd have some controversial. We should have got Mato on. He would have tore something in, tore some arguments. But yeah, let's move on to the final part, the rosters, the new season, the teams that are in the league. It's been actually a long time since we last played, since Strong Opinions beat Fair Enough in the Season 10 final. Just as I say that CJ leaves, I think he's trying to fix his mic, so I'll just give a bit of a recap to you guys about what's happened over the season. We had Deutschland, which Strong Opinions won. We had the Blast, we broke caused 2 grand's worth of damage. CJ won. I got really drunk again. So I wanted to say, Stinson, thank you very much for Deutschland. It was a brilliant experience.
Thank you.
I'll remember it forever.
I will too, Spelly. I will too. But yeah, I think it was an awesome weekend. I mean, I tried to write down most of my thoughts in the forum post, but there were definitely some flaws, and there were some incidents, I would say, that I don't want to get into right now. Also from present people, but not only, to be honest. But yeah, I think weekend was great, and everybody had a good time, so it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, we won't go into that, but very quickly, Stinson, with that sort of these incidents in mind, will that affect Deutschland going forward? Will we have the same thing again next year?
So to be honest, I don't know, but also that being said, I didn't know last year at this point either. So I will have to make up my mind. I don't know. I haven't talked to MTA a lot about what happened or how the LAN went yet. So I don't have any input or feedback from them. So I don't know if that I have no idea actually. I can't even pretend to be planning something. So it's up in stars. I've not thought about it ever since I left LAN, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. It's a bit too early. I can just say, I think we need some time to heal after, because I was there at the end of LAN when we were one of the last people to leave. They were not happy.
They're not happy.
They were not happy with us after that. I think the words "pigs" were used a couple of times. Shall we say? But yeah.
Well, I mean, I like the fact that you're amused by this, but it also annoys me that you're amused by this.
Well, you can ask CJ. I'm not amused at the time. You can ask CJ. I'm not amused at the time.
We had an intense debate before and during the ferry ride. So.
Yeah, we had a fight on the ferry. I won.
I heard some people talk about next LAN being Netherlands or Belgium. Is that true? Oh well, not confirmed, but like suggestions.
So last year around this time, actually I think even before the first Deutschland happened, there was Camembert. He's like some gamer from Belgium who came to me with the idea to make a Highlander LAN himself, or he had the idea. So in Belgium or like in the Netherlands or something like that. But he never got anywhere with it because getting this thing started is really, really hard, and he never developed the idea any further. And I would appreciate it if there was another LAN, because that takes the pressure off of Deutschland. But I don't think 2 Highlander LANs would really work, because we already have like DreamHack, we have I-58, and I don't think 2 LANs will be equally visited. So people would have to make a choice between going to the one or to the other LAN.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it happened a lot. Some people couldn't make Deutschland because they wanted to go to Insomnia. It was kind of a shame, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about LANs, I guess, over the next few months, but it isn't really LAN season at the moment. So let's talk about the season, ETF2L season. I was in the middle of recapping over the summer. Deutschland was one of the things that happened, but a couple of there were some changes in the season, which I get my notes so I can make sure I've all my facts right. We got 3 teams playing that played from last season, and those are strong opinions. Obviously, the retaining champions going for your 3rd straight title. Going to tie with SNSD. That's the plan anyway this season if you win. We have Bureau who came 3rd, and Premtech who came 6th. I think they've got some really dumb name at the moment. I'm just going to call them Premtech. It's May2. That's all I can say about that. And so those are your 3 surviving teams from last season. And we also have Super Dickman who got promoted from winning high as well. So that's 4 out of the 8 spots in Prem. Now, unfortunately, a couple of teams died. I will start off with Highlander. I mean, if you really want, you can put a candle for us in chat, but I really won't appreciate it. Highlander is dead. Do you guys want to know why?
Go ahead.
Didn't really need you just to say no, to be honest. Well,
keep it short.
Well, I've been playing for 5 seasons. Since season 5 was my first ETF2L season with Highlander. Before that, I kind of played with Americans. When I started the team, the roster was different. My motivations were different. And I kind of feel like I didn't quite achieve everything I wanted to, but did enough. I enjoyed my time playing, but the team was so different from when I started. So, and it kind of felt like a chore to play in TF2, especially Highlander, just because it's so hard to organise 18 people. So I decided not to play, and the rest of my team couldn't live without me. I think some of them might have killed themselves in real life. Maybe Doom, because I haven't seen Doom.
He
for a
just
while.
turned up in chat, like in stream chat. He just messaged someone for the first time in 1-1.
That's a lie.
Whoa.
I think he hung himself because Hyper folded. That's what I think personally. I'm pretty sure Kunai is inconsolable and has been weeping for days. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Tracker, he might have committed suicide as well. I don't really know at this point. But yeah, we're dead.
I like how you care about your old teammates. Like, I don't know if he even is alive anymore, but you know, I don't care.
Yeah, I loved playing with them. Loved meeting some of them at LAN, the ones that actually turned up, and it was good times. But you gotta move on and let the next generation take over, who are present. So a rip High Panda, and also joining us in the death queue is Fair Enough. Who it's a bit of a shame Fair Enough folded in my opinion, because every season they were better and coming second. Their death was unappreciated by me. So sad to see them go. And also, our Russians are gone. We've got no Russians anymore. CJ, we got the Russians.
No Russians anymore. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that is much better. Much
Awesome.
better.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think Russians were going to plan to play. It was always like up in the air, like it was for season 10, but they made the decision a few months ago, and yeah, sad times.
Yeah, cool. So I'm going to take a drink of my Glenville whiskey to toast the teams that have died. While CJ tells us about Strong Opinions' roster, how has it changed?
It hasn't really. It's pretty much the same as last season. The only change really is that Cloudy is working a lot more, so it's unlikely he'll be able to play sort of main this season, which is why we've got Milchman. He played for us in the Invitational Cup, and he's probably going to be playing the majority of the games this season. But yeah, other than that, we've still got Thalash Scout, Raptor Soldier, Steve, Pyro, Ali, Demo, Emilio Heavy, Seal, NG, Me Medic, and Toast on Spy.
So what you're trying to say is there's no point in playing this season, you're just going to win.
No, I'm just saying that Milchman plays a similar style to Cloudy, so he's kind of just slotted in, and we're just kind of going over what we do, and
So
yeah,
are you going to drop Cloudy, or?
No. It's just
Okay.
Cloudy's working 5 times a week, so it's pretty much like, and because he works in a bar, he's going to be doing night shifts and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's going to be essentially impossible for him to guarantee he's going to be any time during a week. So he just said, look, we get someone else for the time being, which is Milchman, and yeah, basically Milchman is playing with us for the coming season.
Yeah,
Alright,
I think
cool.
it's really unfortunate that Fair Enough died and High Panda died, because I've tweeted it a couple of days ago. I was looking at the SO roster, and I noticed that a lot of really good players from the other teams just joined Strong Opinions as subs. Adiski, Milkman, and I think that further just increases the gap between a team that is already having a lot of success and is maybe even going to be the most successful team in Highlander history in Europe, and the other teams. We have a stable roster as well, somewhat, but
We is in Euro.
Yeah, Bureau. It will be really hard to close the gap when the subs that come in are maybe arguably individually even stronger than the main players.
Maybe, but you got to look at this perspective. The subs necessarily playing regularly, So I'm gonna like me not playing Highlander as much as Kronos. Kronos is only going to improve. I'm not going to improve.
No.
So whether or not you think he's a better medic than me, he's not. I'm the best.
No, I get it. But like,
but you see, he will eventually.
I mean, you have to look at it like from 2 points of view. Like when we came into Prem, like we had to close the gap on chess when all of their players had played Prem. They'd won Prem. Like they were, you know, they had Atomic Ubers, they had Quintosh. You know, they had lots of players who were seasoned veterans, and a lot of us weren't. And we had to close the gap by just practicing and, you know, getting the rest of our team up to the level of the more experienced players of the teams.
Don't get me wrong.
But at the same time, like, no, I'm just saying at the same time, like, you mentioned people like Adiski, like, the reason Fair Enough folded is because Adiski didn't want to play anymore. And, you know, he wanted to play last season and make his own team, and then he just said he didn't really want to main Highlander anymore. So, you know, he played some games for us last season in UGC, and he was just like, you know, if you guys need a sub, then, you know, he can play a couple of different classes. So, like, it's just players who want to invest the time to main for one reason or another. And yeah, I suppose that's just why we've got players like that.
I mean, it's only natural that players like Adiski and Milkman are attracted to strong opinions because they want to play at a top Prem level, and if they don't want to commit to being main, or if their teams died, then it's only logical that they would join strong opinions if they have if they have the opportunity to play like Milkman does right now. But
so you think it's a shame?
I don't think overall, yeah, it's a shame that these people don't like gather together and try to make a team that maybe can catch up or even defeat strong opinions.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, these people don't want to main in a team. Like Adiski doesn't want to main in a Highlander team. He just wants to back up. And Gorston, who joined us, he doesn't have the time this season to main.
Here's the thing about
and
my
you know, people like that. Like I spoke to Ubers, and he didn't want to play, you know, more than once or twice a week at most. So even when we have subs, like I can't guarantee him, you know, playing too many games for us. Like obviously we have some great subs, but the reasons they're subs is because they don't want to main. Like we've have this massive like changeover of subs every season because sometimes people change their minds and they're like, okay, next season I want to play a main, and then they go off and they make a team or they find a team, and we look for different subs. So like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you could potentially make a team out of our subs, sure, but those players are subs for a reason because mostly they don't really want to play main.
Yeah, true, but all these like Prem 6 players, like most of the, or a lot of the people are Prem 6 players, like Ast, Adiski, you know, they don't want to main Highlander, but they don't want to play sub for like some team in Prem, right? So they're like joining the best team because reputation or whatever, and that's actually increasing the gap.
Success.
Well, Adiski joined our team because we got drunk at I-58, and he said, "Okay, I'll join you guys." Like that, it was just a conversation. It wasn't because we're good. Like I'm sure he would have joined another team if they'd asked.
Yeah, okay.
Just bringing away from this point, I should just say I don't think it matters that much at High Panda. When we won in Season 6, we got some really great backups on the backup. We had Zebasai backing up for us at one point. We had a lot of really good backups, but it's not about the backups. It's about the attitude of the people playing. The backups can fill in and do a job when they need to. But it's about the main roster, and that's kind of what matters in my opinion. I kind of think I thought you thought it was a shame, Stinson, that all of these great ex-players are just leaving the game and not forming a new team. Is that that's what I get from the conversation? But we should really move on. Unless you want to say something very quickly.
I'm fine.
Okay, cool. I guess we'll move on to the Bureau's roster. You guys come first. Okay, there are other teams in the league to talk about, but Kronos, your team hasn't changed that much. You did mention Doom earlier, who has apparently just come back alive on stream chat, so you'll be having a conversation with him right now.
Yeah, I was talking to him on Facebook actually, and he is saying if he hasn't been cut already, he will commit to maining for us. So I'll take him on face value and say Doom is our main engineer. Scout will be Funds, who's making a return to our roster. And also main for us at the end of last season. Justice is playing his second ETF2L season with us. Yahoo is on his fourth ETF2L season with us. Cooley's on his third. Scrambled, who's been on and off the scene for about 2 years now, is playing heavy. Doom is obviously playing his second season with us, after he played with us in season 8. Then Imatic Scripson is in his second season with us again. He'll be playing some games and maybe realise we're playing some games when Scripson's away. Who's a Russian sniper who's very good. And then Mick Nando will be on Spy, who's playing his 4th ETF2L season with us as well.
Mostly the same players that have been there for a long while then.
Yeah, everyone has played at least one season with us before, so.
Okay, what about it was in the Cup you didn't have Scripson.
We did.
He did have Scripson, sorry. We can tell how much I watched. I think he's going to be a player for you guys.
He is, yeah. Scripson, we've always played around snipers quite heavily. And I think snipers historically have always done very well while playing with us, just because we're so on top of their sniper is, and then we protect our sniper a lot as well. So Scripson will be an important player for us because he suits our playstyle and is a very good sniper. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Cool, man. I do have some other questions for you,
Okay.
but I don't think they're that interesting.
No, go for it.
Okay, well, with Fair Enough and Highlander gone, do you see this season as the one for your team to emerge as the natural challengers for Strong Opinions?
I would think so. I think last season we played Highlander and obviously we won, so that was neither here nor there.
It wasn't trying, mate. Wasn't trying.
And then, fair enough. We struggled against them in parts last season, but then we did take games off them in scrims. But yeah, Strong Opinions is who we're gunning to try to be beating this season. Obviously, they are the team to beat, and we want to show ourselves as the team to hopefully beat them.
Alright, that's good. They got Kronos to look out for, but Spelly, you guys arguably Super Dickmans, even though you won high last season, you guys are arguably the form team coming into the season. Even more so than Strong Opinions, although we won't discount UGC too much, CJ. We won't talk about that too much because it wasn't really Strong Opinions. But you won UGC, you've come second in that cup, you've been playing really, really well. Post-season, you've been pretty active as well. What do you guys think? Do you think you've got a big shout for challenging for the title this season?
We're definitely gonna try. I feel that our team is very inconsistent and that we have a lot of possibilities. And well, I'd say our biggest letdown in a lot of games is that we always have mercs. Like when we have our main lineup maybe like once every 2 to 3 weeks. But that's mainly because of sixes. Sixes going on right now, and we have Dima and May, big sixes players, so they don't play with us a lot. But yeah, I feel like now that six is ending and we finally have our main roster, we can do some map talks and scrim together a lot, that we definitely have a chance to go somewhere on top Prem.
Yeah, okay, confidence. So I'll let you and Kronos trash talk each other. You think you're better than Bureau at the moment? The results
really.
would say so. Results would say so. I'm just saying. Kronos, what do you think?
Those are results. I mean,
I
anything
think
can happen.
they beat us in the one game we've played against them. So I guess on that basis, yep, they are right now better than us. And I think most in our team would say that, yeah, we want to be, we need to be beating Super Dickmans more than we are right now. But that, I think we are still to improve. We are still shaking off the rust that from not playing for like 5 months. So yeah, I think right now Super Dickmans possibly are better than us, but I think by the end of the season we will hopefully be showing how good we are, and that. But I think Spelly would say exactly the same. He wants to be proving throughout the season that they are the best.
You've been have you been coached by Premier League managers? I wanted to hear some trash talk. It's all very polite and modest. I don't like it.
If there's anyone to trash talk, let's just trash talk stacked. I mean, come on. They're like the boxing bag.
We will get to that. Don't you worry.
It's really cheap to trash talk the people who are not present, though.
no, we will get to that.
Well, they were banned for reasons.
I'll give you my opinion on the top three. We got some of the other teams to cover, obviously, but between you guys, I think that's probably going to be the most interesting part of the season, is to see Bureau versus Super Dickman game, because I think you both will be playoff teams. I don't think you'll beat Strong Opinions, though. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. No, I'm not sorry. But that's going to be the way. The winner is going to be Bureau. Bureau going to come ahead of you guys. Super Dickmans. I believe in Minando. I have faith in Scripson. I have faith in Kronos. As long as he can maintain his tenancy, he should be good.
Anything can happen, Hildred.
You guys
it's a magical world.
It's going to be justice for Lan and Eugen, the floor.
I do think that, like, at the very top of the table, there will be Strong Opinions not even being touched. Like,
no, they'll have a few.
They will have maybe a hiccup or two, but I don't think anyone can really compete with them. Yeah, they won't drop points, but maybe they will drop rounds. Probably they won't.
No. I think
people said that about Hypander in season 8 and Chess in season 9.
I would like to be proven wrong here, but I think what I was gonna get at is I think the fight for place 2 will be really, really contested, because I don't think we can count out Chess Club just yet. They don't have a stable roster yet, but they have always been a team. Doesn't matter what variation they had. To contest for finals. So I think Bureau, SGTK, and Chess Club are gonna have a really, really tough time fighting for that spot to play against Strong Opinions in the finals. And then in the finals, what happens in the finals, who knows?
Yeah, anything can happen, but it's a good thing you bring up Chess Club, because it kind of brings us to our sort of next point about how the other 4 teams in Prem were decided. We know about Strong Opinions, we know about Super Dickman's getting promoted. We know about Bureau maintaining this, but we also have Premtech in the lineup. Now, I'm not actually sure about their roster, so we'll cover them because they still win. Because their roster for the cup was probably going to be a lot different from what it is going to be in the season. The roster they gave for the cup was Legal and Scout. This is what they gave us before the tournament. I don't know if they actually played it. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Uber's ended up playing the cup, but apparently he's not going to soldier for them because he's too busy trolling sixes with me. Ferry is going to pyro. Is this correct? Mm-hmm. You can correct me if I'm wrong. The mighty Meitu on Demoman. The legends of heavy Kakautu.
Lol.
Someone had to say it. Uber on engineer. I think he wanted Cobbs, but it's going to be Uber, apparently. Connor on medic. Mist on sniper, I think is tutorial. No, I could be completely wrong. And feel free if anyone's in the chat to correct me.
Mist is Yorg.
Yeah, he's Yorg. Thanks for pointing that out, actually. I kind of forgot to mention it. And their spy... Now, apparently it was going to be Woolen, but Granger Bob is going to make an appearance this season, playing alongside Lord Meitu. So he's gone from me, the King of Highlander, as a leader, to Meitu as a leader. The future King of Highlander. Watch out, CJ. It's a good choice. He knows a winner when he sees one. So that's Premtech's kind of roster. What do you guys think of that team, if it's the correct team that is? Honestly, I found it very difficult to find out what their roster was.
They've said they're only playing warm-ups and officials.
Oh, okay, they're going to lose.
Yeah, I think they'll end up... No offense to Mato, I like the guy, but I think they'll end up like last season. They'll finish or lower, to be honest. I think we've got the teams like replacing Failer and TC Ambition. No offense to those two teams, but are stronger than those two counterparts. So I think Dremtech could end up being lower. I think Budget Toucans should be better than them.
Yeah. Well, they did pretty well in the cup because they came
They did.
fourth
They did, which surprised
or
me.
third,
actually.
rather.
They actually got 2 points off Super Dickmans as well in week 1. So I don't know,
Nice.
like the whole warm up officials thing. Like if that's all they do all season, then yeah, they're gonna
They will
may
tail
miss.
off,
Yeah, they'll tail off. But at the moment, where everyone is still kind of rusty and still trying to get scrims together and just kind of coming off the back of the Sixes season, I think they're picking up points in for example in the week 1 game, because I think everyone is still kind of at that rust level. And if they were to practice with the roster they've got, I mean, it's a good roster. They've got some decent players there, and I'd say they'd be able to challenge for the playoffs, sure. But we'll have to see whether they change their mind. I know last season they said they were only going to do scrims. They were only going to do warm-ups and officials, but we did scrim them like once a week or so. So
Yeah,
they did
say
throw
that.
some games in.
People say that we're only going to do this, and then they realise it's not fun to get smashed, and then they practice a bit more. I don't know. I don't buy it. Mackie, we've left you out of this discussion a little bit. What do you think of Premtech's roster? You beat him?
Would we beat them or have we beaten them?
I know both. Both. Are you going to smash them?
I don't think we've been playing them in scrims because obviously they're not scrimming. We're playing them on Badwater, so
That's week
Easy
7,
win for
isn't it?
Toucans then.
yeah, it's a bit of a rematch from.
What do you think of the players? Like, do you rate him? Do you think Kaltu is the second best heavy in Europe, as he was in Season 6? Statistically? That's completely made up, no idea.
I was
You
before
think
my time, so.
Do you think they have a good roster, is what I'm getting at?
Yeah, obviously they have good players. Well, I don't actually know their roster, but
You
yeah,
have no opinion on this.
It seems like a good roster. I don't really know their roster, so it's hard to say.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I personally think they will probably come 7th or 8th. That's my personal opinion. If they're just not going to practice, that's what I think. Premtech have gone from 2nd to 3rd to 6th, and I think they will go even one worse this season. But maybe I'm just sort of goading Maytu to try and prove me wrong. Maybe that's my strategy. I don't know, but let's move on to the 4 new teams to the division this season. And I do say 4 new teams because we do have some familiar names returning, actually.
STCK are new.
Yeah, but they, you're right. Don't correct me. It's my show. I don't like being
Okay,
corrected. There's the 4 other spots that we haven't talked about that had to be earned through the preseason playoffs. Now, this structure that you guys did, Stinson, I do actually want to say I really like how you did it this season. The double elim.
Thank you.
Because it gave teams, a second chance if they lost and if their seeding wasn't great. And in my opinion, I mean, you can't do a round robin, so I understand, why you've done it this way, and it's probably the best way you could do it. And there were the way it worked is chess clubs and toucans. You guys were, I think, the top seeds for Prem roster. Chess Club returning with a completely new roster, so they qualified for playoffs. Arguably, they didn't have to be in playoffs, but they earned their spot, so it's okay.
I think the policy we went with for the last couple of seasons is if a team changes out more than half of their roster, then we don't consider them the same team anymore. So they have to re-qualify, because otherwise people can just, take the name Chess Club, for instance, and make like not an open team out of it, but like a high team out of it, and claim that, we are Chess Club, we have to be in Prem. So that's why they played Prem
Fair enough.
playoffs. And if they're good enough, they're gonna qualify through this, right? And
Yeah,
that's what
they did. Yeah, they did. They beat Toucans 2-0.
Yeah.
There
But
were
luckily,
2 close maps on it, and Toucans had people timing out. I think Toucans they could come the season be winning that game, that fixture.
Oh, okay. It's very nice of you to say. Mackie will do. I wasn't going to talk about the game, but go on, Mackie. Very quickly.
I'd agree. I'd play, but I watched it, and from what I saw, Catman wasn't doing a great job like fitting into the
Catman
team.
timed out as well, so
Yeah,
he
it was
timed
really
out like
good.
a few times.
And yeah, so it was 3-2 on Viaduct, which was their pick, so that was really close. And then we took a round of bad water, but they eventually won. But yeah, I think by the end of the season we should be aiming to be beating them.
Okay, I like that. Confidence. Let's see, after you guys did lose that game, you did get put into playoffs. You were seeded first, you beat TC Frosties, and then you beat Failer. And through those wins on Failer, you didn't drop a map, in fact, it was quite impressive. You got a Prem spot. So well done, Mackie.
Thanks.
Before we come back to your team, just to cap the rest of the playoffs, Failer and Envision both played each other as well. Failer won that game, but then they lost to you guys, so they didn't make it. They also lost in the lower bracket Stacked, who did make it. Premtech made it. They beat Agency, and they beat Super Dickman Juniors, who are, in my opinion, the surprise package. Super Dickman Juniors, because they played TC Frosty, beat them quite comfortably actually, and they got them to the Prem spot. But I think the big news in this is Stacked are back. That's the big news.
Fuck yes.
Yes. Everyone, Beep is back to have another go at Highlander, but I do wanna talk about that. But Mackie, Toucans in Prem, you had a really good season last season. You qualified this season fair and square. Most of the people won't really know your team as well. So just tell us about your roster, and don't just tell me their names. I want to know one interesting fact about them. Go.
Oh God.
Start with Scout.
Okay, so we have Silver Tossbun Scout, who is like a high sixes player.
Who is
And
someone?
Swedish. Yeah, he's been playing with us for. This is going to be his third season with us. Then we have Chef on Soldier. He's really lovely, and he is going into his fourth season with us. He was with us season 8 in Open. We have V-Clocks on Pyro, who merked for Bureau last season, and he's really, really good. We have Shaggy on Demo.
That's his interesting fact. He's really, really good.
Well, I gave you he merked for Cronus last season. That's very
I
interesting.
think you misunderstand word, but it doesn't matter. Carry on. Tell us, Shaggy.
Yeah, so Shaggy is like really, really, really good.
So
And he's really funny because even though he's really, really good, he only plays for like the memes. He doesn't actually like get upset when we lose or anything. It's just about the memes.
I like how you're finding this really difficult to say something interesting about them. But yeah, there's you on Heavy. I'll introduce that part for you.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, Engineer.
So last season we had Cerno on Engineer, but he had to go study in Japan. So we picked up one of the best NGs in High last season, which was Mezzo. And then we also lost our Nick from last season. So we had to pick up Mars on Medic, who's been really good for our team, and I think we've improved like a bunch since we've got him.
Mars on Medic, is that going to be the
That surprised
Kratos of
me,
Highlander?
actually.
Mars has never played Medic in Highlander before, but he's played Heavy. But Medic is easy, so it doesn't matter.
I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, rest of you guys who aren't Mackie, because he's got to defend his teammate here, but as a free man, I'm free to shit on anybody I want. Mars has got quite a reputation for raging. Is this true or false?
Sorry, Mackie.
So was that directed at me, or because obviously
Everybody.
I want to defend my players.
Go on, defend him.
Well, we've been scrimming with him for like a month and a half now, and we haven't heard anything. Like he's been really nice.
Oh, okay. And maybe he's just he's sort of raged for about a year after the Deutschland he played with me, and I just tore him to shreds. Poor guy. Okay, fair enough.
So Mackie, who does the majority of like play calling on your team now that Mars on Medic?
So it's kind of shared between me and Mars. Our old medic wasn't very vocal, so I used to do a lot, like the majority of it. But now, like if I can't see anything or I'm dead, Mars can make the like big calls. So it is good for
Yeah.
the team.
So I've had limited time playing with Mars. I think I merged for TC Ambition, and the main problem is that if Mars has an opinion how to play the game, and if that doesn't work, or if other people disagree with if he calls something and people don't do what he calls, then he can get upset really easily. So, but if you're like, I guess if you have like somewhat of a co-main calling synergy where you and him are on the same page, then he can be an awesome asset to your team. Yeah.
I get it. So everyone just listens to the mask. Because to be honest, that's kind of what all the I wouldn't say the best callers, because I'm going to include myself among them. I wouldn't say the best callers, but sort of all the more well-known callers in the scene, like myself or Emilio. That's kind of how we operate as well. So there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, sorry, Baki, you were on Sniper.
Sniper, we have Jelly. I don't have an interesting fact. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm done with that.
And then we have on Spy. We have the Mater.
Tomato, I love Tomato.
I do too.
My boy.
He's got a very thick German accent, and
Yeah.
I pointed this out to him once, and at LAN he wasn't very happy with me. I think he still held a grudge. He's a funny guy though. So
He actually lives like 2 minutes away from me. Like I could walk there right now.
Go walk there and log on his PC and do the rest of the show from his PC. Go,
Yeah, man.
go. I'll see you in 2 minutes.
No.
Okay, I don't believe you then. Yeah, that roster, Budget 2 Couldn't's roster, it's a team that's been together for how long? 2 seasons? 3 seasons?
No, we played Open in Season 8. But obviously we've lost players since then. So the only remaining players are me, Chef, and Shaggy from Season 8.
Okay. I mean, I do enjoy your WhatsApp group memeing. It's very pleasant, but would you agree, everybody else, would you agree Shaggy is their strongest player? Kronos?
Yes. Yeah,
See-
I would. Having played with them quite a lot and been friends with Budget Toucan's guys for a long time now.
Oh, you think they're friends? Oh, awkward.
We share like a mumble.
Awkward.
Wow,
Okay.
But no, having I'd say Shaggy is a standout player. He's an incredibly good demo man. So yeah, I'd agree with that.
Does he carry them?
Yeah.
If you think Mackie's just, I want to say Mackie thinks that Shaggy carries his team. Do you guys agree?
What I've noticed in the past times we scrimmed Toucans is that Jelly stepped it up a lot.
Jelly's been playing
like, he's...
Jelly's been playing immensely better since we got Mars.
Yeah.
Mars is putting so much more heals onto him.
Like Jelly's gotten way better than before, and I think he might like get a very big key position in Toucan's team. But yeah, Shaggy is definitely one of their core players, if not their carry. But
I mean,
they're a solid team.
From what I've seen, I really rate the pick classes on that team as well as Shaggy. Jelly and Tomato do a lot of work together. That's one of the things about them. Would that be fair to say that your weakness might be your flank? Would that be a fair comment? I'm sorry to Chef and Silver top spot, but would that be a fair comment, Mackie?
That they're a weakness?
Are they a weakness to your team?
I don't think they're a weakness because
okay, we'll go.
We've been playing together for like so many seasons now that anyone else in that role would just not like fit. So we're just all used to playing with each other, so that's the way it works. It's not a weakness.
Let's put them up against Falash and Raptor. Are they a weakness there? Because I would fancy Jelly, as an individual versus an individual like Milkman. I'd fancy Jelly. Maybe not Tomato versus Toast. But Shaggy, I'd fancy Shaggy as a demo man. But there's some of the other players just. I mean, his strong opinions is a bit of a cruel example. But do they stand out to you? Some individuals on your team, are they not as strong as others?
Are you talking about the flank?
Just in general. I'm not
Well,
naming names.
I think like the real standout players on our team are obviously our pick classes, Shaggy, and also V-Clocked our Pyro. So I think we have like really strong roster. It's like consistent throughout. But
okay.
obviously, like maybe our flank is worse than Strong Opinion's flank. That's not that bad.
So you're saying V-Clocked is a Pyro to watch out for this season?
Yeah, I'd say V-Clocks is like working like one of the top players in Prem, playing at that level.
Oh, go and give us a ranking. Top 3, second, first. Is he better than Steve?
No,
Nobody's better than
it's not better
Steve.
than Steve. No.
I wanted him to say it, man. I wanted him to say it. Second.
I don't know, it's like a toss up between, I would say, between Sinrise, Yahoo, and him.
Ooh, okay. That's gonna get the Pyro mains. Get the Pyro mains out on stream chat. Yeah. Thanks for answering the questions, Mackie. You're two good guys. Just quickly, where do you think you can make playoffs this season?
Yeah, that's going to be the aim.
What would you be happy with 4th and disappointed with 5th?
I haven't really put much thought into that. So, what teams would be above us?
4th, just 4th is like one of the playoff spots. Like just making playoffs is good enough for you.
We'd be happy if we made playoffs, yeah. And I think we'd be disappointed if we came 5th because it's so close to playoffs.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. We've covered all of the teams that are playing this season, who have leaders in and representatives in, but we've got some rosters. I think we have to start with chess because Sinrise has provided me with a roster. Now Chess Club are the other team, CJ, who are looking to make history here and win a 3rd title and tie SNSD record. They won't do it 3 seasons in a row. They won season 7, they won season 8. You guys beat them in season 9. They fell short. I don't think they played last season, did they? They didn't play last season, of course they didn't play. And then now they're back, or should I say Kazul is back. And they've got a pretty good roster here from what Sinrise has shown me. I'll just go through it with you. They haven't decided upon a scout yet, but their soldier is going to be Onkaya, a multiple experienced champion with Chess Club and Kill Switch in the past. Sinrise on Pyro. They haven't decided upon a demo man yet. They got Baker Knight on heavy, who was playing on Fair Enough. I think is one of the best heavies in the league. Bacon. They haven't decided on the medic yet. Their engineer is Cherry Rendezvous, very good player from Fair Enough as well. Flo is their sniper man. Again, I really rate Flo as he's going to be one of the best snipers in the league, in my humble opinion. And Kazuli has returned on Spy. Now bear in mind that 1/3 of that roster is missing, and they haven't really provided details on who their scout's going to be, who their demo is going to be, who their medic's going to be. But judging by the class of the players that they have, those are top players that they have so far on each class. CJ, are you afraid of them?
I'm not afraid of anyone, but
Oh, okay.
oh no, I just deal with the teams that come to you, you know. But chess, definitely, like they should be, like they're gonna want to challenge for playoffs, of course. And I would say that, you know, it depends on you. Like the cup, they played with Samsky on Scout, and I think they had Quintosh's demo, and then but they've been playing. I think it was Skyper they've been playing with beforehand on demo as well, and Fragmented on medic. Like I've seen lots of different players playing. So like you said, 1/3 of the roster is incomplete, but they've got some really good players. Bacon's one of the best heavies in Prem. Flo, like you said, you know, he was sniper of the season last season. He's extremely strong. Kazul is really experienced. So like all of them on Kyra as well. Like they've got lots of experience. So they just need to finish their roster and play. And yeah, I'd say they're going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season.
I think you're right. It depends a lot on who they pick up. They're saying that they're probably not going to pick up Cypher, so their demo could be different. Who was it that said they played them with a Disky that caused them lots of problems earlier?
We played them when they had a Disky, and the Disky admittedly carried them.
Okay.
He was very strong, but he's not maining Highlander, I believe, and is subbing for Strong Opinions.
I know that I've been asked to play either medic or demo several times by Cherry, and I've declined politely more often than not. So I think they are struggling to find certain players, but if they can get a demo man, not quite a disky, but a top quality demo, and a scout of a certain class, then they will be contenders, in my opinion. Medic doesn't really. I mean, they won Prem with Robin on Medic. As long as the Medic's got a good attitude, they should be fine.
I think a lot of things have changed since winning Prem with Roban. I don't think. Well, although, I don't know. I think to a certain extent, medics can be carried if the strength is very high in the players around them. But
Do you get carried, Kronos? Do you?
I wouldn't say that, but
You brought it up. I'm just saying.
no, I'd say I'm not saying any teams are carried by have medics that get carried now, but I think you need a really strong team around you if you're going to be carried as a medic, and I think more or less it would be apparent that a medic is not quite cutting it. Like you'd see them somehow still getting lower heals than other medics despite having excellent players or whatever, but or dying when you think, hang on a minute, their team is all still alive, why are they dying, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
but,
I have
yeah.
seen CJ's demos. Thank you. Is he going to bet? He's listening. Good. No, but moving on for the point about Chess Club. If they can complete their roster, who would they have to bring in to be contenders? Spelly, do you have any ideas?
Not really.
No opinions on this. Mackie, you seem like a guy who has opinions.
Who would they have to? Can I pick any player? Like,
well, realistically, like we know Adiski's not going to play, even though he would be by far the best choice for a demo man.
I don't really know. There's not that many players still looking for teams that are top Prem.
So with that in mind, do you guys think Chess are going to be up there in playoffs? Because, I mean, we've got 4 teams here. All 4 of you want to be playoff teams. None of you are happy with 5th. Are Chess going to be up there with you? One of you going to miss out?
I hope not. Chess is definitely weaker without Ubers, I'd have to say.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah. Although Flo is doing really well for us, as you would expect.
Well, he's been inconsistent in the past 2 weeks. I know he had like 1 week where he just couldn't do anything, and all of a sudden he's good again. So perhaps if he keeps his consistency up during the season, Chess might end up in playoffs. Who knows?
Okay, well, I'm just going to throw this out there, Layla, since she's in chat. How about you release? You kick all of your team. In fact, let's just drop you from the discussion. How about Jonuff comes and plays demo for Chess? Is that going to be allowed, Layla? I'll let you type that in chat to us. You're going to let Joe play for Chess?
I was actually talking to her just now, and apparently Joe has a job where he has shitty shifts, 4 night shifts a week or something.
Oh yeah.
That's also why. So that's also why his secret team that I worked for yesterday kind of died from the inside in the last 4 weeks. But I don't think that would be an option, to be honest. Even if
I just wanna see Chess bring a really, really strong roster to the season and sort of throw a spanner into the works. Because to me they're a very unpredictable team.
What's Funky doing these days, by the way? Funky would be a nice addition to Chess.
Potentially. I don't know. We'll have to see what they come up with over the season, but let's move on to another team that have made it. He's back. Beep is back with Stacked. Are we all happy about Beep being back? CJ, you happy?
I haven't been happy since 1995 or something. Man.
Wow.
No, it's good. It's good to have him back. I have to say something about Stacked. About, I'd say, a week ago. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but about a month ago, I would say Stacked was the most informed Highlander team. no teams were really scrimming that much. But with the odd scrim here and there, like Stack seemed to be doing it like 3 or 4 times a week, and they had a consistent roster. And while it didn't have players like Josh or Sorex or anyone like that we used to seeing, it was like the same players playing. So it was kind of like a different Stacked where it's basically a team with a lineup getting regular games. So I thought they were going to do quite well, but
It's
I don't
like
know. I
it's
think
not
they seem
paying
to
off.
have. Yeah, I mean they seem to have tailed off in the past few weeks. I don't know really what's going on, but
I mean,
I think it's different.
you guys have been scrimming them a lot, so you will know a bit better than me. But from what I can see, just looking at a couple of their scrims on logs.tf, that like for example, there's one here that you guys beat them on Bureau 3-1. Their roster it doesn't seem like a normal stacked roster. Like just to go through it, Tex is a guy called Texic. He's a Czech Republic guy who I've never heard of. Is on Scout. Swallow, UGC. Sorry, his name. Sorry, UGC Swallow. From German guy. Is he on their roster? I don't think he's on their roster.
Swallow plays for
He's
Failure.
on Failure, yeah.
Oh, okay. So who's their soldier then?
Don't they have
Hearts.
Hearts?
Oh, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. I've got to forget Hearts. Like, yeah, Hearts. He's a traditional Highlander player. I think Phoenix is there. Is Phoenix on their roster? He doesn't seem to be on their roster. As Pyro, is he there, Pyro?
No.
I think they're
So
looking
they're-
for a Pyro.
I think they have
actually.
a Russian pyro actually.
Yeah,
He used to play for
Simple
Unpoppable.
6.
Simple
Yeah.
Six.
Simple 6, I think is his name.
Simple Six. These names are getting worse every season. First it was CJ, then it was Toast, and then it was Cronus. Getting worse every year. I miss the days.
So do your jokes, man.
It's true. As long as I find them funny, I don't really care. We got Fee on Demon. Now he is, I think he's more of a Sixers player, Fee, so he could be an exception. We got Susie returning as heavy. So Beep have a sort of love relationship going on. Chickaboo, American engineer.
Yeah.
Beep's playing medic by the look of it. In this scrim, he got 21 deaths on upwards. It's okay, Beep have them far worse than that. And their sniper is a Russian guy, Finsky.
Fuzz.
It's Fuzz.
Oh, it's Fuzz. Okay.
He is very, very good. And to be honest, I think Stacked they'll be better than a few teams. I think they'll end up being ahead of Dickman's Juniors and Premtech, at least. I think they'll end up being mid-prem, trying to push for playoffs, and probably falling short.
Just to complete their roster, MS on the meter is the spy. But that team, apart from, with exception of their demo man, their roster is what I would consider traditional Highlander players, or basically players who are going to commit to the season, because their old policies seem to be picking up people like Dr. Phil, Sorex, a lot of people who are on Lego, Admirable, Samzy, people like that, who are great players in 6v6, and they can transition to Highlander potentially. They're good enough players, but they just weren't dedicated enough, and they always had to bring in mercs here and there. And they also tried to play with Hard for about 3 seasons, and he was never active. So they've actually gone for a roster that's going to be active and play, and they won't need mercs. They've sacrificed the quality of some of their players. They actually have a team now that's going to play regularly. Do you guys think that's going to benefit them?
I think they're a little bit too new together to really challenge the top teams. But if they keep playing and they stay keen throughout the season, they'll be mid-table. They'll definitely be better than a few other teams. I think they'll end up being better than Premtech because Premtech obviously aren't playing as often. But they won't. I don't think they'll be amazing. They've got some good players, but they need to gel. They need to be playing together. Fuzz will do a lot of work for them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely took the right approach. I think Beeb realized finally that you can't win Prem by just putting some random Sixers players that lose interest in the game because of various reasons, maybe even Overwatch. together and then win Prem or be a top Prem team. And this time around, he seems to have taken the other approach where your main roster is consisting of Highlander players, and then you have backups 6 players. Like they have Tiger on backup, I would imagine, and like players like Fungi and Fox on backup demo. So I'm not sure how keen they are. I'm not sure how stable their roster will be, but I mean, you gotta think that Dickman's juniors are gonna be 8th place, and then I think between 5th and 7th there's the potential for a stack to be landing in.
What do you guys, Mackin, you've probably pieces of each stack. What do you think of their team?
I think they could be very good, sort of like Kronos is saying, like contesting playoffs. I would say at the moment Toucans are better than Stacked just from scrims. So yeah, but yeah, they've got Fuzz recently, and he has been doing a lot of work.
So Fuzz is their, or Fuzz. Fuzz is their best player, is what I'm getting from this.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago they had a guy on their roster who just was playing sniper and was not very good at all. I think they picked him up from mid, and he wasn't really. Yeah, maybe. I can't remember.
Because he used to play spy, and then he started.
Yeah, he's gone from scout to spy to sniper, and it's just I don't think he just wasn't really cutting it for them. So I think they got rid of him and picked up Fuzz, who's just been infinitely better. And I rate Fuzz very highly. He's an excellent player and will do a lot of work.
He's in the chat. I think he's feeling very smug about himself right now, about life in general. Personally, I want to say to Beep, he won't be listening to this, and he probably won't ever hear it. But I'm so glad to see you back, man. It's going to be a great season with Beep. As Bulo once said to me, he's become a kind of a meme of himself. Even though deep down he's a nice enough guy, but if there's some controversy and drama, then he's the guy in the middle of it usually. But personally, I'm glad to see Stack back because they've always been a team that have sort of underperformed. So shall we move on to the other teams that we haven't talked about? I think there is only one. Is that correct?
Yep,
Yeah.
Super Dickman's Juniors.
Super Dickman's Junior, I think a bit of a surprise package because there are a couple of other teams that were going for the last spot, like Envision, Failer. I was surprised Failer didn't get in actually, and TC Frosties. But Super Dickman Juniors into Prem, Fairway, Spelly, since you are in Super Dickman Seniors, what can you tell me about that team?
Not a lot really. It was mainly Clark's idea to just make a junior team. And
they're Prem?
Well, they were planning to go high, but all I've heard from it is that the roster changed like every week. Like core players like Sprayer, who main called for them, left because they didn't have time to play. So Clark managed to get a roster together, I think a week before playoffs, and they somehow managed to get into Prem.
Well, I'll tell
you.
I'll tell you. I'll look at some of their team. They got some familiar names. Like Jules was sniper for. Was it one of the teams last season, or was it UKIP? I can't remember.
I don't know. Jules
I've
has
seen
been in
him.
a lot
He was
of
a really
teams.
good sniper, anyways. Yeah.
He's crazy.
He's scout. They got DQZ from Soldier. Now I know DQZ because he's a Russian who plays in mid sixes, but he's really good.
Yeah, he's a really good.
He's a really good upcoming player. Vlad, Romanian guy. Now this guy, their demo man Chibuk. I always struggle to pronounce his name.
Sinok. God damn it! It's Sinok. How can
he's
you not
Russian.
know this?
It's not important to me. Sinok is their demo now. He played for Wasp, didn't he, last season?
Yeah, I think so.
He played for TC Ambition last season. He played for Wasp a couple of seasons ago.
Was he on demo or heavy?
He was heavy last season.
Heavy, right?
Ah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's at their heavy rape. Ripe. His name
Rape.
is so bad.
Everyone says rape.
I think he's Finnish, so his
he's
name
Finnish.
would actually be Ripe or something like that.
Ripe. Yeah, he was actually on Envision and then quit their team, which I think is funny. but he's played in Highlander last season with Ugandan Pizza Police, which is a great name. Ihor on engineer, I don't really know much about him. He's a Ukrainian guy.
I'm pretty sure he played for either one of the two Russian teams in Prem. Or was it like Wasp and the other one Unpoppable? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he played for one of the two teams.
They play an Italian guy. He's another player I've seen around. Now Nate and Nightmare on Sniper and Spy. I have no idea who any of these guys are. They made it.
I've played with Nate on Darkness of Mediocrity, and I think he's like a really good high sniper, but he probably is gonna be having a hard time in Prem. But is anyone else noticing that Chan is on Sub Scout? Like, am I the only
Chan
person
from
being
Killswitch?
hyped?
Chan
Yeah,
from
man.
yeah. He
He is back, dude.
it's like every week he's like, oh, I'm gonna play full-time CS:GO, and then like next week he's like, I can sub for you guys. I think he's been on the Dickman's roster like a couple of times as well. Not sure, but I think he's pretty keen on at least subbing now.
I
So
love
yeah,
Chan.
Chan
He's the best.
come back. He was supposed to like play last season as well, but that didn't happen. Yeah, Chan. It's nice to see him back. Well, with hope he's gonna stay.
Yeah, I used to remember the playing against Chan in Killswitch back in the day, and I kicked him. Emilio, you have to answer for this. You kicked him so you can get Denya and win Prem. Poor Chan. Whereas Super Dickman's roster, Super Dickman Juniors, should I say, are they Prem fodder? Kronos,
I
are they,
think-
or CJ,
oh,
CJ,
sorry.
are they Prem fodder?
No, like I don't know. I've merked with them, and I've seen them play. Like they beat Stacked in the playoffs. I think a lot of it's going to come down to whether they've got a main caller and if they stick with the roster. Because this roster is like, you know, they've got some decent players there. If they get a main caller and they stick with this team, then they can do okay. But also, I think it depends on week one. They play Stacked in week one. I mean, if they win there, then you know maybe that's going to be a good start for them. They do something with it. But if they lose 6-0, then maybe they're going to struggle for points later on in the season. I don't know. But
Okay, well, Kronos, that's scenario to you. It's round 6 of the Premiership. You got Super Dickman Juniors. Are you thinking easy 6 points here?
I would probably be lying if I said no. I honestly think Envision should have got the Prem spot, the final Prem spot. But I think they had to default lost their game against Frosties, which meant they didn't actually get through to like the final against Dickman Juniors.
But they lost to Dickman's Envision.
Okay.
In the
maybe
first
I'm
round.
wrong.
Oh no, that was the Highlander Invitational. They lost. Sorry,
okay.
my mistake.
You're thinking normal Dickmans,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
opposed to
my
Dickman's
bad.
Juniors. Okay. But I think Envision, they've got some really good NA players, but apparently they just couldn't play the final game in the qualifiers, so didn't make it.
I mean, I'll say one thing: if you got to turn up to win, and if they don't turn up, then I don't care who they are.
They didn't deserve the spot because they didn't turn up to play. But I think on face value they should have got the final spot. If you talk about what players they have.
Do you think that's hard on Dickmans because they did beat Stack, didn't they? And they did beat Frosties. And they lost the game. They lost to Premtech.
Perhaps maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I haven't played against them, so in all honesty, I don't have a valid opinion on the matter.
I would say their Prem spot is deserved. I just say, like, at the moment, they seem to be the weakest team. Like CJ and Merc for them, and it's very clear that they don't really have a proper main caller at the moment, and that's really where they're lacking.
Okay, so what I'm trying to get here is I should make a comeback and lead them to glory. That's what I'm sort of hearing. Is that what you guys think?
As long as you leave our WhatsApp group.
I'm pretty sure I'll be kicked after tonight, so it's fine.
I think you're fine where you are, Hydrus.
Sure? Okay.
At the graveyard of Highlander.
That's pretty, well, I can live with that, personally. So we have... Those are our 8 teams for the season. I'll just recap them. Strong Opinions, Chess Club, Premtech Stacked, and we have Super Dickmans Juniors, The Bureau, and Budget Toucans. Now, I shall go on a little monologue and just say I think this season is going to be a very good season, and just because I think the strength of the scene is higher than it's ever been, and people might laugh at that considering we've got something like 80 sign-ups or something like that. But I think Prem skill-wise has never been higher, just in terms of competitiveness. Because to keep playing this game after 11 seasons, you have to be a good team. So I'm really looking forward to sitting there and casting some TF2 and not having to do anything. But yeah, we've got week 1 to look at, and I think that's it. We can all go to bed. We've had one game already. Dickmans beat Premtech 4-2. Spelly, just talk us through that game very, very quickly.
You mean Premtech game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably our worst game ever, if I'm honest.
Your worst game ever?
Ever. We had our soldier main calling eventually, because comms were so fucked up.
Wait. Why were they messed up?
I don't know. Comms fucked up, and well, we just ended up not being in sync and doing stupid stuff. It was weird. Really weird.
So you're disappointed you dropped 2 points, is that what you're saying?
We don't really care about 2 points, but I think it could have turned out way differently. I guess it's just bad luck. Our team was like, you only have one of those games like once. Yeah, it's pretty hard to describe. But
it sounds like you don't want to talk about it.
Not really. We had a long talk after it, discussing what went wrong.
You should have said this earlier when we were talking about who's going to win between you and Bureau. Did I say Bureau were going to win?
Yeah, I think
I did. Yeah, okay, I'm justified in saying that.
But I don't know. It's just kind of. It's not really. Doesn't have anything to do with it. Just one bad game.
That's the game I'm looking forward to. You guys versus Dickmans in week 2, Gully and Lakeside. I really want to try and cast that.
I'm just hoping it's not too early for us. Like we're gonna have to try hard between now and then because we know Dickmans are gonna be very good. So we have to make sure we are upping our game constantly.
I feel like your spectator in the background there, Cronus, is getting a little impatient. So we'll move towards wrapping it up. On Sunday we have 3 games: Bureau versus Budget Toucans. You get to see Mackie in action against Cronus. It's going to be a good one. Stacked versus Dickman Juniors, and Strong Opinions versus Chess Club. There's so many good games, CJ. Why did you schedule it on Sunday? Chess Club game.
Because that's the date that Chess wanted, and we were okay with it.
It's fine. We're gonna cover them.
All of them?
We're gonna cover Toucans versus Bureau, with Heavy's GPS and Sigafu. And we're gonna cover Strong Opinions versus Chess with Jake Owati and probably me.
Oh, okay.
If that is an incentive to tune in, but
are you dropping me on any of the games? Am I not allowed?
Figure that out later. But Jake Owati is gonna be there for sure. Either Hildreth or me are gonna co-cast.
Like, I can already see people type in "please Stinson" in chat. Please Stinson.
Let's have a public vote. Let's ask the Prem teams about who should cast this game.
Yeah, you do that. I will get rejected there.
Who's casting us playing Budget Toucans on Sunday?
Heavy's GPS and Sigafu.
Okay.
It's going to be an interesting class. There's going to be a lot of discussion about Girardi and Engineer and Short Circuit. I'm looking forward to that one. Any final thoughts on the season? Let's just do what's traditional. Your first to 8th position, CJ. And then your shoutouts.
I hope it's going to be us in first. Next, I would guess. I'll go with Dinkman's Bureau, Toucans, Premtech. I'm forgetting teams. I think Stacked might finish bottom. behind Super Dickman's Juniors, depending on what happens this weekend. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be close. I think all the positions are going to be really, really close. I think, there could be 2 or 3 teams that could get relegated, and I think any number of teams could get into the top 4. So I think it's going to be really an interesting season. But yeah, just shout out to my team and looking forward to the season, you guys. And yeah, to you guys for the show.
Cool. Kronos, first to wait and then shout out.
I think I'll agree
We don't need
with
to hear why. We don't need to hear why.
CJ.
Just
It's
say
going to
the
be
teams.
strong opinions first. I'm going to say us second, Dickmans, Toucans, Chess, Stacked, Femtech, Dickmans Juniors. And then shout out to my team, to everyone that's been part of my team. Shout out to Toucans, of course. Shout out to my girlfriend for putting up with me being in Mumble for 2.5 hours.
Is it 2.5? It feels like time has flown by.
Yeah. Shout out to Scrambled because he just asked me.
Very nice, very nice.
XD.
Mackie?
I think Strong Opinions are going to win, and then I think it will be tight between STCK and Bureau for second, and then I could see Chess or us.
Just list them. Just go.
Oh, I don't
Make a
I don't
decision,
know.
man.
I think Strong Opinions will come first, and I think Super Dickman's Juniors will come last, and then everything else will be close.
On the fence, okay. Shout outs.
Shout out to... I don't have any shout outs.
What? No shout outs?
Shout out to Kronos.
Oh, okay. Not even to your team.
Right.
Well,
Not-
okay, fine.
Not to John.
Well, you usually shout out John, so I'll leave that to you.
Okay. Okay, Spelly.
Shout out to my team, Super Dickmans. Shout out to Juniors. Oh yeah, maybe I should say.
No, it's
lots of
fine.
things.
You don't have
Yeah.
to. I've given up on that now.
I'll just say Stacked is gonna end last. Is that enough? All right.
Yeah, that's better. That's good enough for me.
Thank you. Yeah, so shout out to my team, shout out to Juniors, Sandwich, friends in Messenger, and You Will Not Be Missed. Also, see, Chef and Dima. Yeah, that's it.
Marvelous. And finally, Stinson.
Yeah, so I think Strong Opinion's gonna win. Then my admin heart says it's gonna be really competitive for second place, and I'm really unbiased, but I hope BMS is gonna make it into the finals. And then I do think Juniors are gonna finish last, but it will be close between them and Stacked, and then everything in between I don't know or care about. And shout out to obviously the Bureau and Dr. Some Mediocrity. Shout out to John and Hildwith for thinking about this and actually coming up with like valid questions for this. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for having me, and tune in into the casts on Sunday.
Very good, man. I like it. I shall wrap this up. I won't do a prediction. I'll just shout out, first of all, John for streaming, you guys for coming on, and Stinson, especially Stinson for coming on and representing ETF2L. It was very good of you
You're
to come in
welcome.
and input into the discussion as well. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to all of you guys for watching and putting up with listening to my voice for 2 hours and however long. A little bit longer than it should have been. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it that you are still awake right now. I don't know why you're still awake, mind you, but who knows. Shout out to Low Panda, my Sixes team, and we're going to change the meta game one shit ECW at a time, one Rage Quit at a time. So thank you guys for being so fun to play with this season, and that's about it. I'll shout out to ETF2L as well for organising. I'll plug these and plug Blackout TV. Make sure you tune in. And one thing I'm going to quickly plug is the banner contest. Have you made any more announcements about that?
No. There are 2 submissions that we are discussing right now. But the one thing, I don't know. We don't have to get into it, but no, we haven't decided yet. But we will.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been Blackout TV with myself, Hildriff, John on camera. We've had C, we've had Cronus, we've had Spelly, we've had Mickey, we've had Stinson, and we've been discussing Highlander Season 11 pre-season. Thank you for watching. Good night. Take care.
It was a pleasure.